Hey guys, welcome to the Monday afternoon show. And today, dare I say, we've got the past and the future, the old and the young.
That's right. This is going to be a really fun one because it's Mercedes Day and we've got two S models. One, of course, is the S-Class and the other one is the EQS. And in this video, I hope to prove my dad wrong and show you why you should buy the EQS over the standard S-Class because this thing's rad.
Yeah, so basically, we thought it'd be fun to compare and contract two Mercedes that are going after perhaps the same buyer, but in very different ways. So Mercedes on my left is the traditional S-Class, which has always been the flagship for Mercedes. And the Mercedes on my right is the EQS, which is basically the S-Class electric car. And so they're both around, what, $120,000? We'll get into that later. So we'll find out which you prefer. Do you prefer combustion or do you prefer electrons? Do you prefer old school design or do you prefer a new jelly bean design?
Yeah, okay, so from a design standpoint, they really wanted to target one of the lowest drag coefficients in the entire world with the EQS. And in doing so, it does look a little bit like a bar of soap. There's not really a divide between the hood, the slope of the A pillar, and the B pillar. It's like one big kind of lump. I think it looks a lot better in person than it does in pictures. So if you're watching this on YouTube, stop watching YouTube and go see one in person. Go check out your Mercedes dealer. But yeah, I think the S is a better looking car.
Yeah, I agree. So I think on that, we're agreed. And in this live show, we're hopefully going to take a deep dive into these cars because really what's interesting is not as much what's on the outside, but in an S-Class, what's on the inside. And I got to tell you, Tommy, Mercedes has really amped up their tech in both these cars.
Do you like the British racing green?
I do. It looks black, but it's not. It's a very, very dark green color.
Look at that. It's awesome. That is phenomenal. So it's called emerald green. And if you're buying an S-Class, this should be your only choice. This is like the best color I've ever seen.
I love the color.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And I'm thinking it might be the Zinio color, right? So it might be an extra upcharge.
What do you think of this?
I love that too.
You wouldn't love that though if you got hit
well, it
by
folds.
a pedestrian.
It folds. That's why you're there.
Oh yeah, that would definitely save you.
Yeah, see, it folds.
I don't know that. I still wouldn't want to get impaled by that.
Look, I think having a Mercedes logo like tattooed on your butt would be the least of your problems if you got hit by this car.
Well, the lawyer would know who hit you.
That's true.
This is proof on who ran you down.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you wouldn't have that issue over here, of course, because here, for aerodynamic reasons, we, of course, have call it the lay-down logo.
But check this out. Okay,
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Case, stand in the front of the car.
Yeah.
Wait till you see what happens when you turn the lights on. I think this is super cool. So this EQS is not opening.
Just grab the key. They're inside.
Oh.
You got them? They're right there in the...
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, turn the lights on.
This is very cool.
Holy cow, it's like Vegas on a Friday night.
Look at that. And look at the light signature with that continuous light bar in the front. This is a cool looking car.
It is cool, yeah.
You know, I know it does look a little bit like a bar of soap, but it's very attractive.
And you have to admire the fact, like Case pointed out, they've got like 5,000 spokes in these. I think those are 22s, right?
You know, I don't want to get it wrong. I don't think they're quite that big, 20s.
Are they 20s? And the other cool thing about both of these cars, of course, is that they have rear wheel steering. So rear wheel steering has become kind of the latest and greatest fad that a lot of manufacturers are going. But why don't you show them? I think this one has up to 10 degrees. Is that right?
I want to say it's
8 degrees, which is still a lot.
Yeah. So 10 degrees.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You know your EQS is very impressive.
I remember when I went on the program. All right.
Standard 10 degrees. Wait till you see this stuff.
Yeah, check this out. Watch this. Apparently, maybe you need to put it in drive, Tommy, because it's not doing anything.
Sorry.
There it goes. That was cool.
Pretty dramatic, actually.
Now, of course, it steers in phase and out of phase, right? So in phase would be like that, and out of phase would be like that. And the difference between in phase and out of phase steering is when you're parking it, for instance, you want out of phase because you get a lot tighter turning circle, so it's a lot easier to park. Actually, I think when you want parking, you want in phase. When you want to do a turning circle, you want out of phase.
No. When you park, they go opposite. I saw someone park
Do
one of
they?
these parallel.
So
Yeah. This has not been productive. What you need to know is that you get a lot of rear angle steering with the EQS.
well, no, it's interesting
In
because,
phase and out of phase. This sounds like a trigonometry lesson.
but that's what
Next thing you know, SOHCAHTOA.
that's what the engineers
Sine
called
is
it.
the opposite over the hypotenuse. It's badass is what it is. It just looks cool. You drive along, you look in the rearview mirror, and it's like it's steering for you. That's cool.
And it goes around the corner better, and of course it's easier to park, and of course it's got a much tighter turning circle because both these cars are like the length of a Suburban.
Now, okay, big deal though,
Yeah.
right? Look at this. So the S-Class is a sedan, as it's always been a sedan, right? Click the button and it glides open, and you have an enormous trunk, and that's great. But what if you want taller items, right? Well, that's where the EQS comes in because the EQS is a hatch. Check that out. That's even bigger. It's
Reminds
enormous.
me of the Audi A7, right?
Sure.
Very similar in its concept and design. The downside to this, of course, is if you look, it's sloping a lot. So I bet you if you sit in the back seat, you're going to have more headroom in that one and less headroom in this one.
Good point.
And the other interesting design criteria is, of course, this horizontal line that now stretches across the back end. What's this plus mean, by the way?
So this is the EQS 450 Plus. And so the deal with this, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be two trims at launch. Well, there are because this car's out now. The 450 Plus and the 580.
Okay.
Now, the 450 Plus is currently only available in rear-wheel drive, although I think all-wheel drive is coming down the road. So this is a rear-wheel drive EQS. If you want the quick one, there's also the 580, right? That's the quick luxury one. And then you just drove the AMG model. There's an AMG version as well.
And ironically, here's the funny thing. Like, when you go from this to the AMG version, you're obviously getting more horsepower from internal combustion, so you're getting bigger displacement or more turbos. Here, you're getting potentially a bigger battery or different software.
Sure. Yeah, but I think there's also some hardware, depending on what you're comparing.
Yeah.
You do get some hardware changes as well.
I did, Tommy. I asked Mercedes, what's the difference between a regular EQS and an AMG EQS? And they kind of were, well, they were a little like circumspect about it, but they basically said that this AMG version has better and different bushings, different suspension tuning. So there is some hardware differences, but I think the biggest difference, at least in the electric vehicle, is the fact that it might have a bigger battery and it will have different software to allow you to use more of that battery to give you quicker and faster acceleration and more horsepower.
Okay, so in terms of the range on that EQS 450, it's about 350 miles as equipped with the rear-wheel drive, of course. I'm looking at some of your questions, so if you have any, leave them in the comment section below. Here, you want to go inside?
Yeah, before we do that, let's do something that you can't do on this car. Let's finish the kind of the exterior design, and that is, let's look under the hood, Tommy. Why don't you show them under the hood of your EQS?
I can't.
Yeah, you can. You can show them right there. Why don't you push that little button? That's as closest to under the hood as you're going to get.
No, I have to open it. So this is a
Open it. Yeah. Unlock it.
It is unlocked.
Why is it?
Because we're filming.
There you go.
Okay,
You just gotta push harder.
So this is where you fill in the windshield washer fluid, but you can't open the hood on the EQS, so it's sealed, and that is honestly, I don't think it matters. So my dad's going to show off the hood on the S-Class and be like, oh, look, you can open the hood and it's better. Is it better? Is it really better that you can open the hood on the S-Class?
Yes, it's really better, Tommy. It's really better because look, let's face it.
I pull twice.
I don't think so. I think
Yeah,
it's
you
just
do.
once.
There you go. Okay, why is this better?
Because it shows you this glorious power plant, right? This incredible, technologically, I think, advanced, stunning twin turbo, which takes gasoline and explodes it in hundreds of thousands of little explosions and creates power, which is so cool.
Very good.
Yes.
Right, you want to fix it?
What's this for? Oh,
you
want me?
can open the hood. You should be able to fix it, right?
Well,
That's the big advantage of opening the hood.
But look, I could pour windshield wiper fluid in right there.
My point I'm making, though,
See,
Dad.
like I could do the same thing, and I can fill up. How about this? What is that?
Coolant?
That could be coolant.
Yeah.
I could pour coolant in there. I could also pour. What's that one? One of these is probably brake
Wow,
fluid.
more coolant.
I could put oil in it. I can actually do things to this car. With that car, if something breaks, you got to take it to the dealership.
So you're telling me that apart from adding oil, which you won't need to do because it's a brand new Mercedes under warranty, you actually want to get under here and fix stuff?
I want to get under here and maybe actually, this probably, I don't want to put some Mercedes.
Yeah, oh yeah. You
I
don't
don't
even
wanna-
want to take the engine cover
I don't
off.
want to take that. Because
That's
it's not
my-
my car. If it were my car, I would take the engine
That
cover
is
off.
my point, though. These new cars are so complicated that the average guy is never going to open the hood to fix something. You're going to take your $130,000 Mercedes to the Mercedes dealer like everybody else. So why does it matter if the hood opens? All you can see is a big plastic cover on here and some stuff you don't understand. If you don't understand it, might as well not see it at all. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. There's something just really satisfying about like feeling like you bought something that is mechanical and yours versus something that is electronic and belongs to Mercedes because you can't get underneath there, right? There's probably a bunch of yellow or orange wires under there.
But why would you need to get under there?
Because it's cool, dude.
This is not cool.
It is cool.
I've never been at an S-Class meet and people be like, you want to see what's under my hood? No one cares. This is a car that's designed to be luxurious and
Tommy,
comfortable.
we go to Cars and Coffee, right? What's the first thing people do at Cars and Coffee? They open up the hood and show off
get
their
coffee.
magnificent Hemi
There's
or...
nothing to see. It's a black cover. You can't even see the turbos. What are you showing off here?
I'm saying this
What are you
is
showing
what
off?
car guys and car girls do. I mean, this to me is not very satisfying. I'm sorry. Here.
That's a cool thing.
Here, let's fill it up with washer wiper
No,
fluid.
that's cool. That's a
wow.
talking point.
There you go.
Here you go. Here's your car meet. Ready? You're like, all right, pop that hood. Oh, is that ABS plastic or is that injected molded? Ooh, I think that one's injected molded. Very cool. Is there an engine under there? Sure. Can you see it?
It's
No.
a glorious engine. Probably
can't see
has turbos in the V.
This
It
is-
is a pinnacle of internal combustion engines, and I want to be able to at least know it's there.
Anyway, this is a ridiculous conversation.
we have done that to death. This also, by the way, has rear wheel steering. I think it only, depending on the S-Class, but some have like, I think 2% and some have up to 9%.
This one's 4.5%, and it's an expensive option where it comes standard on the EQS.
Let's talk about the interior now, because this is where the fun starts.
Yep.
So, Case, why don't you jump in the back? I'll jump in the passenger seat because both of these cars are scrumptious, I would say. Is that a fair word, scrumptious on the inside? Now, here's the part where, of course, the electric car is a little bit better because you can start it up and not worry about...
Fuming yourself out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I think we can probably see this pretty well. Can you turn down the radio? We can probably see this pretty well if we just do that. How does it look, Case?
Good.
Case says it looks good.
Look at this. Isn't this gorgeous, Tommy?
It is. This is an incredible interior.
Now, unlike the Cadillac Escalade that we just purchased for our Go Big series, this is not fake wood from plastic wood trees.
So this is a $130,190 vehicle as equipped, 580 4MATIC sedan, right? We talked about the 4-liter twin turbo with 496 horsepower. Now this interior is incredible. This is called Sienna Brown on black Napa leather. And what you're touching there is the piano lacquer flowing lines. It's a $1,300 option.
Yeah, and I bet you this is piano black wood, not plastic.
So as we look at some of the options.
Oh, look at the steering wheel. Look how thick that is, Tommy. That
nice,
is
isn't
so,
it?
yeah.
It's
so,
the wood and leather steering wheel.
Yeah.
Noise reduction foam in the tires, interesting. So rear axle steer, it's a $1,300 option. Heated steering wheel,
Of course.
$250. Active ambient lighting. They do have some pretty cool ambient lighting.
And of course, you can go in here. We could show that actually. You want to change the lighting?
Yeah.
So you got to go to the home screen. I think you got to go.
Probably figure that one out.
Oh, now there you go.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if I remember how to do this. So we're gonna go into the car setting. Yep.
Kill that. By the way, I don't like this. I don't like these haptic controls.
Why is it being so slow?
Yeah, this is where it gets a little. I think it's under comfort.
Is it comfort?
It might be under comfort.
Ambient lighting.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. And then you can scroll and change to your heart's desire.
Yeah, there's this blue line right here that changes. There's some ambient lighting right there
You
that
can
changes.
even do multicolor. You can change the brightness, and you can even do effects.
Oh, look at how bright that became.
It's very cool, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
like a Berlin disco, Tommy.
So, latest and greatest Mercedes-Benz infotainment system. I know you dislike it. I think it's pretty good.
No, I dislike this bar because this is the haptic bar that is actually a little bit cheaper to manufacture. The other thing I also dislike a lot, and I've driven this car, is right there, Case. That is the best, well, what used to be the best seating control in the business, but now instead of actually making it real, you just kind of touch it and it does stuff, right? So you no longer actually push. There's no real feedback in terms of what you're doing, and it's much harder to use than before. Before, like if you want to slide the seat, you would actually slide it forward and the seat would slide forward. Now you just kind of touch it and the seat slides forward, and it's not as good. It's a step back.
So when you talk about the tech in this vehicle, right, at first it seems vastly overwhelming, and I definitely understand that sentiment, but it really is fairly easy to understand once you dive into it. And once you get used to it, I think that this is one of the best systems in the industry. Now, for example, we have two different toggles on the steering wheel. The right toggle controls everything in the infotainment, so you can pretty much do everything hands-free. The left toggle shows everything in the gauge cluster. And speaking of gauge cluster case, I don't know if this will actually come across on camera, but as part of the $3,000 3D technology package, what we're looking at here is a three-dimensional instrument cluster. So parts of it appear to be further back than others. I think it kind of gives me a headache. I'm not sure I really like it. I'd probably turn that off in the settings, but it's pretty funky. This also has the augmented reality heads-up display.
Yeah, and that's actually a really cool feature. So what it does is, obviously heads up usually just kind of gives you like speed information, tachometer information, even what radio stations you're listening to. But in this car, what it does is when you're using navigation, it will actually place an arrow over the front of the car and superimpose it on the road in front of you, so that if you're supposed to go left, there'll be an arrow that'll be floating in space that'll tell you to go left or right or straight. It's really is like, you know, like next level stuff.
Now, if you look over here too, tons and tons of different drive modes. So let's go into the dynamic settings. Sorry about that. So we've got Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and then Individual. And this, of course, does have the Airmatic air suspension system as well, which is a nice thing. I want to go into the climate control. Let me see if I remember how to do that. Is that in Comfort?
It's in Comfort, I believe.
I think it is in Comfort.
It might be hardwired, actually. It's right there. Here's your
I
Comfort.
know, but there's a cool thing you can do.
Climate menu right there.
Climate menu.
There you go.
Air quality. This is pretty cool. It'll actually tell you the exterior and interior air quality and can adjust for that as well, to give you the cleanest and freshest possible air.
I suppose we also have our little air freshener in here
We
somewhere.
do not.
We don't have that?
No. The
You know.
EQS has it though.
How about this? What does that do?
This is
Yeah.
this is like the old school confusing. I think you can control the airflow this way.
I do like controlling the airflow this way.
Well, so instead of having like a
Actually,
little
manual. That's nice.
instead of having a little scroll wheel,
Yeah.
you activate it using these three little buttons. Paddle shifters, of course, for the 9-speed automatic transmission.
And talking about the powertrain, how much horsepower, how much torque?
496 and 516.
Which is plenty.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a ton of power.
That's
Yeah.
a ton of power. And you know what? Sentimentally, I think, you know, if I were, this is probably, let's face it, the last internal combustion engine S-Class, right? I mean, from now on, Mercedes is probably going to start building more of those
Sure.
than of these. So if I were collecting man and I collected Mercedes, I'd probably get the top one of these and hold on to it, because at some point this will be the last of the breed. Now, the thing I don't like about any of this stuff, Tommy, and once again, please don't call me old. I'm not. It's not because of my age, but it's because, look, screens. So you ask the manufacturers, you know, why are you doing this? Well, you know, this is like Q back in Cadillac. People hated it, and they'll say people like screens. People are used to screens, and the problem is a phone screen is basically designed to be very immersive, right? It's supposed to suck you into it. Whereas in a car, you don't want that. You want your attention on the road, and you want this to be as easy to use as possible, so that you're actually paying attention to what's in front of you or what's happening in front of you, as opposed to trying to figure out how to switch, you know, drive modes. And the downside to all of this is it is very hard to use when the car is moving. A button is easy to push. This is all very difficult at some point.
Uh-huh.
You don't think so?
Well, I think that Mercedes has done a good job with the system. I think that it's probably one of the best in the industry, and I personally,
I'm not complaining about Mercedes. I'm just saying these.
Yeah, but you can't lump all the screens in the same vein.
I can lump all the screens together, because they're all. And then let's face it, this was all started with Tesla. So you're kind of doing a spin around, right?
Yeah.
Now we've got, so Tesla started the door handle, right, that comes out.
Tesla doesn't do this, by the way. You can't do the spin around.
No, I'm saying the door handle.
Sure.
Tesla started the pop-out door handle, and now every car has pop-out door handles, which is fine unless you live in a place like Colorado where stuff freezes and door handles can freeze in place, which is what happens in northern Canada on Teslas.
Mercedes does insane testing on that.
Yeah.
And I think if there's a manufacturer that's going to design a this is going to be
where it's going to break the ice. It's
Yeah.
an icebreaker door handle.
Yeah, I really think that this is good. I've seen some experience with Mercedes in really cold environments, and they do very well with that.
But on the positive side, I think this is one of the nicest interiors. You know, there is a sense of calm and of chill when you get in this thing, and it is a little bit old man-y, but being an old man, I love it. I think, you know, if I were very wealthy and I wanted to, just chill out after a busy day of work, this certainly would be the car to do it in.
All right, well, let's check out the EQS.
The Hyperscreen.
Really blow your mind.
Yeah, the Hyperscreen. You know where that comes from, Tommy? Are any of you guys fans of old, shall we say, is it disco? It's probably not even disco. It's more like electronic German music. There's a song called Hyper, which I actually looked up on YouTube. It's pretty funny. Look it up. So when Mercedes was trying to come up with a name for their screen, they went back to their youth and brought the hyper name from the song Hyper. Check it out. It's on YouTube. Hopefully not now. After this, please. All right, let's look at the Hyperscreen.
Oops. Okay. Let me
show the door handle and how it opens and lights up.
Yeah. That's great. Actually, it might be the same exact door handle as the S-Class. I think it might be. Looks
Part
very
sharing?
similar.
Tell me you ain't so, Tommy.
All right.
Is Mercedes part sharing?
Now we can go full on with the EQS because it's fully electric.
Oh my. Somebody was like 2 feet short.
Okay. All right. I think that this is pretty cool.
Yeah, turn it on, would you?
Yep, it should be on.
Okay.
So what we're looking at here is 56 inches worth of Mercedes-Benz Hyperscreen, which is just the craziest name. Now the Hyperscreen is, well, it's something very special. So it's actually made out of 3 different screens. You got one in front of the driver and the instrument cluster, the giant one in the middle, and then one on the passenger. But it's under one piece of continuous glass. It's actually Gorilla Glass, so it's supposed to be incredibly strong. And it's a very similar system, actually, functionally wise, to the S-Class that we were just in. So you'll notice a lot of similarities, like the ambient lighting, right?
So now we've lost our HVAC panel, right? And we've lost the little haptic panel that we had. Now we're completely all touchless.
Not quite.
No, there's something here.
HVAC is still here.
Yeah.
It's still in the same place, so you can turn it on here. And you've got your usual HVAC controls. And then down here is kind of that panel you're mentioning.
Oh, I see. So they moved it.
So we've got like volume scroll down here. You've got power buttons, dynamic modes, all that is down there now. So that's where they incorporated that.
I see. And then what does that guy do? You know what that is?
This is a fingerprint sensor.
Yep. So if you want your car to recognize you and dial in all of your personalized settings, you can use a fingerprint then to get the car to your favorite station. Say you've got a list of like satellite stations you like, to get your seats in the right position, to get your dynamic chassis in the right place. Yeah, exactly.
It's all there. So this is where things get really cool, right? So I'm starting up your system right now. And what I have done is basically given you your own private viewing and experience center over here. So you can control the navigation system, right? You can have your own little nav and you can work on navigation settings. You've got the same air quality thing that I would have in the middle, all via your screen here. And I think what you can do is, you see this little icon? You can actually pair your headphones. So if you want to listen to your own Sirius XM radio station, you can all do that on that side of the car while I listen to it through the main radio.
We got fragrance in this one, Tommy, remember?
Oh, we sure do.
We do have fragrance.
Do you want me to pull it up on the big screen?
Sure, pull it up on the big screen.
All right, here we go.
If you remember how to get to it. If I have it on this one, I could probably spritz them in here.
Oh, it's actually climate, isn't it? Please switch on the vehicle. Okay, air quality, I want to say. Ah, look at that. So we've got 3 different fragrance levels, ionization. It still has the particulate filter. We can pre-climate condition the climate control. This is really cool, isn't it?
Yes, it is really cool. And I could see your mother or your grandmother being completely bamboozled by all this tech. I can see a lot of people who get in this car and would be completely like, taken aback by how everything works, right? And I know this is an age thing. You're much younger than me, so some of this stuff is much more intuitive to you. But nevertheless, there is a lot going on under the screen.
Now, EQ pages, so you can see state of charge, 99%. You can see the range, predicted 369. It'll show you like, hey, if you turn off your climate control, you can get a little bit more range. There we have our consumption pages, all very well integrated here. Now, I want to show you something pretty cool. Let me go out of there. Let me go where to. Let's say like you want to navigate to Los Angeles.
Right.
Just the attention to detail in this car is crazy. Look at this little map that pops up. 3-dimensional. That's freaking cool, isn't it? Look at that.
Can I go like shoot something? I feel like I want to go down there in the mean streets of Los Angeles and start blowing things up in a video game sort of world. Can we do that? Wouldn't that be cool?
That looks super cool. Now, I'm just
I
going to
take
try
it we can't
something.
do that. Yeah.
It's 1,000 miles, right? We get there at 6:38 a.m.
Yeah.
Route optimization. So what it's going to do is it's going to see the best and the fastest route. And I think the EQS will also plan for charging stops.
Which, of course, Tesla does.
Which, of course, Tesla does. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But this is such a... I mean, this looks like something out of Tony Stark's Playbox.
I agree.
It really does.
I agree. It does.
It's very cool. Let's take a look at the gauges case. Once again, just like the S-Class to a big extent, extremely configurable. Lots and lots of different settings. You can have, I like understated in this car. You know, you get the clock, you get a speedometer.
You know what my favorite is? I think it's traditional or classic. Maybe it's classic. It looks like an old Mercedes.
Yeah, I think we were just there.
Classic, there it is.
So like, there we go.
So that looks like the Mercedes of years gone by, like your old. Remember, you had your own diesel Mercedes.
Yeah, that looks nothing like my diesel Mercedes.
You're right. It doesn't look anything like your diesel.
But
Mercedes.
That's the classic one.
That's a weird classic.
There's also an assistance page too, which shows you like the lane centering and all that data that you'd want. I think that looks great now in the sport pages. Now, just like the other S-Class, we do have dynamic settings: Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Individual.
Or is it intelligent?
Is it intelligent?
It might be
individual.
Individual.
Can you see the sticker?
You bet. Let's look at the sticker.
All right. Let's talk about some of the options in this puppy. So this is Cirrus Gray over a black space gray Napa leather interior, and a natural grain yacht design brown walnut with the lines. So just like your S-Class, we got the lines, baby.
And real wood. So this car starts at 102, Tommy, which is actually pretty reasonable, but I think it's got like $20,000 worth of options, which is not hard to do in a Mercedes.
Now, the most expensive option is the Hyperscreen.
How much is the Hyperscreen?
$7,230.
Wow.
And like we mentioned, that includes a 12.3-inch driver display, the 17.7-inch OLED central display, and then the 12-inch passenger display.
Look at all these different camera angles.
Yeah, I was playing with that in the S-Class, too.
Yeah, there's our Bronco. That's pretty cool.
Looks great. I think on this one, just like the S-Class, can you... Yeah, you can. You can kind of...
And I like that it actually matches the color to the vehicle. That's always a little...
Yeah, but the S-Class was silver, too. I wonder if it defaults to silver.
Well, never mind. Then I'm bummed by that, because you would think it would be much better if it actually matched the color of your car to the color of the display.
All right. Shout out to George at Motoman. Do you want to guess some of the option prices?
Oh, his option scheme? Okay, give me one. I'll try.
Laminated safety glass with infrared protection. How much does that cost?
$750.
$1,000.10.
Okay.
What's next here? Black microfiber headliner.
500.
1,600.
Oh God. Okay. I'll try one more. I'm gonna figure out what I think, and then I'll add 1,000 to it.
Okay. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Where did it go? I just lost it. The rapid heating front seats.
All right. I think that should be 1,500. So I'm gonna go 2,500.
$450.
I am striking out one after another.
Way off on that one. Yeah. And then this one also has, this is cool. This is straight out of Tesla.
Yeah.
Check this out. It's got a dash cam.
Yeah, that's nice.
So you could plug in like your drive there and have it record events. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like if you get in an accident, you can, or if somebody tries to fake an accident, you can record it and then take it to court and show the judge that this was indeed not your fault. I do like the manual controls here. Once again, I'm not a big fan of what Tesla has done, where you have to go into the menu and you have to, control the wind, control the
wind,
control the airflow through. Well, I do a lot of wind controlling, but that's a whole different thing.
All right. So, should we close this puppy up?
You didn't think that was funny, huh?
I did think that was funny. That was a dad joke. That was good.
Thanks.
That was a good
Thanks for the dad joke. Yeah, appreciate that, Tommy. Yeah, so we could sit in the back, but obviously it's an S-Class. So, Case, how's the room back there?
Good. Well, one thumb up. Not two, huh?
You know what the best thing in both these?
Well, one of them is holding the camera.
You know what the best thing is?
The pillows?
The pillows, yeah.
Pillows are good.
Yeah, I could fall asleep in here. So, Tommy, both of these are about 120,000. So, are you saying you would rather have the EQS than the traditional S-Class?
Yes. Let me show you why.
Okay, let's. And by the way, great job in showing the Hyperscreen off. I was amazed at your dexterity.
Well, thank you. Yes, I do like the Hyperscreen. Here's why. You want to come over here, please? Here's why I would buy the EQS over the S-Class. Now, a lot of people think that this is a major issue with electric cars, like the range. I mean, you got to stop and charge it on a road trip. But people buy their electric cars for the road trips they never take. The vast majority of time, people are just cruising along and plugging it in at home. And that is where the S-Class really, really shines because the EQS, sorry, not S-Class, EQS, I can simply drive this around 300 miles in a day, right?
Yeah.
Plug it in on a level 2 charger, wake up in the morning with a full tank.
How big is the battery, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah?
I don't want to get it
Maybe,
wrong.
maybe somebody can Google it.
It's chunky.
But I'm thinking if this is over 100 kilowatt hours, you're probably not going to charge it overnight if it's empty on level 2, right?
It's a big onboard charger, though. I think it's a 10 kilowatt onboard charger.
How much is it sucking there?
108.
108 kilowatt hours.
We're sucking,
you, 108
we're sucking
kilowatt
in 39 amps. So you might be able to charge it overnight. I don't know, 108.
This is kind of a dopey, dinky volt box. Don't buy this one. This is Amazon.
Oh, come on.
If you're buying an EQS, you're not buying the $50 cheap
No,
Amazon volt charger.
hold on. Here's the other thing. I think if you're buying this whole world of power stations is not, I think it's going to be very new to you. So you might buy one that might not have enough ampage, or it might,
I think that's a 40 ampere.
Yeah, that's 40.
That should be able to charge you up mostly overnight. But the fact of the matter is, like, most people are driving 50, 100 miles a day. That is going to be plenty to juice you up overnight. And then you'll never visit a gas station, right? You'll never have to worry about, gas prices going through the roof if, like, world events change. Electric prices do change, granted, but that's really special to me. I think that is a major luxury people overlook.
I don't know if I agree with any of that. I think we're living in the golden age of the electric car, and as we get beyond like single-digit adoption for electric cars, it's going to be much tougher out there. There's going to be fisticuffs out there when people are going to charging stations and not being able to charge, because right now, less than 2% of all cars sold in America are electric, and so we have yet to go from having as many charging stations as we have gas stations, and that's a long way off. I know we're slowly building out the electric infrastructure, but
my point is, if you live in an apartment like this one gentleman was saying,
right,
it doesn't work. But if you live in a house and you have access to 240 volts, it's just better. I'm sorry, but for daily commuting, it's just better.
I agree. I mean, an EQS is probably going to be sold to somebody who has a house. Right?
Probably true. Yeah.
But it could also be sold to somebody in a high-rise apartment building, and once again, those are way behind in terms of charging.
Totally.
Okay. Anyway, so any questions that we can answer for you guys before we call this today?
There's a big argument about fuel injection.
Yeah? Okay. Now we're on the S-Class.
About, electronic fuel injection.
Okay.
Speaking of electronics, folks are asking how the electronics will hold up in the cold in the EQS.
We're about to find out, actually, because tomorrow we're supposed to get down to, 9 degrees, something like that. And so the plan tomorrow is to actually do a head-to-head comparison of both of these. The one big difference between the EQS and the S-Class is that one's only rear-wheel drive, because even though they are, relatively similar in price, we didn't get the all-wheel drive EQS. So, but Mercedes kindly enough supplied us with snow tires, so it should be okay tomorrow.
Now, if you get like the 580, you do get all-wheel drive, right?
Yeah.
Dual motor setup.
Or the AMG.
Yeah. I think the 580 I drove, though, was like 170.
Yeah, they get up there pretty quick.
Say they do get up there pretty quick.
They get up there in Taycan prices. Other questions, Zach?
There's a lot of people arguing about electronic fuel injection. I don't know. I don't know where this argument has come from.
Is that like windshield squirty fluid?
No, Mr. Sports said VW had electronic fuel injection in 1972. Darn straight.
Okay.
I see a question about if the EQS has a heat pump.
Yeah, does the EQS have a heat pump?
That's
a good question. So let's kind of go back and talk about that. So a heat pump is just a more efficient way of heating and cooling the vehicle. And in general, when you have a car with limited range, like our Mini SE, right, and you have a heat pump, you do get longer range, but it's not that much. The testing we've been doing comes to about 3% of the energy used in a vehicle. Electric vehicle is used to either heat or cool the cabin. So it's not like it's going to get you more than, in a 100-mile range car, more than 3%, which would be...
I don't know. I have to do a little digging.
3 miles.
I'll have that answer for the review tomorrow.
Well, don't start digging for it now. Somebody else can dig about the heat pump.
Okay.
So anyway, it's not as,
Nathan Adlin says, Zach is dope, y'all.
The heat pump has become like the badge of honor for electric vehicles now. So the first question that people always ask, does it have a heat pump? And for instance, a lot of the early Teslas didn't have them, and then the Model Y went to them, and now, of course, they have them.
Scott says, will you be reviewing the ID Buzz soon? And I have to say, stay tuned.
Yeah, we're going to go hopefully. What? No, it's coming soon. All right.
Are they both faster than the TRX?
No.
Probably not. This is only, I think this one's like 320 horsepower,
Yeah.
450 plus.
I want to say that's like 7 seconds, 0 to 60.
This is not a speed machine. Now, I've driven this extensively.
This might be a 5-second car, maybe a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
drove the EQS in the program.
Yeah.
This is one of the most incredible cars I've ever driven from a ride quality standpoint. There's no part of this that makes you want to go 0 to 60 in anything under 20 seconds.
Do they both have air suspension?
Yes, I know you can get the EQS with air suspension.
Yep.
I think this one has it. I have to look.
Which is not easy to have a good ride with those big 20.
But this is like, genuinely, you drive an EQS, and here's how you drive it. You just go like this, and you drive for hours. It's phenomenal. It's just like a couch. It's beautiful. So I love the EQS driving experience.
The one thing you do miss, of course, in the EQS is one of my favorite things, and that's the scrumptious, or shall I say, audacious V8 exhaust note, which you will get in the S-Class.
In your S-Class, it sounds like nothing.
No, it does. I drove, it's funny. We had one of these maybe 2 months ago at the office, so I think we did some reviews of it. And I usually don't drive a lot of these cars because I'm kind of now too busy running the office instead of actually reviewing cars, so I let the guys drive them who are actually going to review them. But I did fall in love with the S-Class so much that I actually drove it the entire week just because it was so chill.
What did you do with my sticker?
I didn't touch your sticker, Tommy. You had the sticker. What are you looking for?
I want to know if there's air suspension. Here we go. Does this have Airmatic? Adjustable regen. This one may not. Yeah, Airmatic. It does have
so at 102,000 base, you get Airmatic.
Yeah,
All right.
cool. All right.
All right, so obviously, which would you have?
This.
All right, I'd have this.
There you go. I do like the green, though. Emerald green. I love the
So
S-Class.
you're saying you want that in this color?
I want all of the technology in this.
Yeah.
In this body, because I don't like the looks of this very much, but I want the powertrain, the hyperscreen.
But you wouldn't have the same range in this body, right? The reason it looks like a jelly bean is because it's aerodynamic.
I would take the range hit to get this design, though. This is a beautiful design. I don't think the previous Gen S-Class was as good as this. It's stunning.
Yeah, and I do, I love new tech, so I do love the tech in this. I just find it a little bit overwhelming.
You don't have to get the hyperscreen, though. You can get
I know.
this system in the EQS 450 as well.
We have one super chat before you sign off.
Okay.
Adam for $2. Between these two, which is the better ranch vehicle for tumbleweed?
This one, it's got the hatchback. It's usable.
This one, it's got all-wheel drive.
Oh, okay, touche.
So I go with all-wheel drive over the hatchback. If you're gonna be herding some heifers, you probably want to have all-wheel drive.
There you go. All right. Well, let's sign off here. I think it's gone off the rails enough here. We'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, and we're going to be using this for TFL EV, of course.
Yep.
And then this for TFL car. And unfortunately, we picked two of the most beautiful and luxurious cars
On the worst
week in Colorado. We're supposed to get snow for much of the week, and it's supposed to freeze. So we'll see how your electric car does when the batteries become very, very cold, Tommy.
It'll be just fine.
You think you'll get 369 miles?
Just fine.
Well, we'll see about that. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, go to tfl-studios.com for all of our videos because we have one-stop shopping now, Tommy.
See you next time.
Ciao.